What's up guys, Doomwake here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. As we were talking about the past couple of days, when we did our metagame breakdown over the past weekend of the challenges and PTQs and whatnot, there was this particular deck list that I did say looked pretty interesting to me, and I wanted to play some games with it. So here is that deck list. We're talking about Jeskai Humans. Now, before we continue, as always, if you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Smash that thumbs up button, and if you enjoy the content enough, consider subscribing to the channel as well. So, again, we were talking about this deck that made top 16 of the most recent challenge that happened on Sunday, and that is Jeskai Humans. Now, a lot of what you're seeing here is pretty much the norm in terms of, like, if you've ever seen a Humans deck in Modern before, I'm sure you've seen quite a few of these cards. Champion of the Perished, Thalia, Thalia's Lieutenant, Meddling Mage, Reflector Mage, Mantis Rider, newer addition in the form of Imperial Recruiter, which when this was first spoiled, I thought this might have been the single best card from MH2 that gave a boost to Humans. A lot of people weren't really that sold on it at first, but when you're playing a deck with Aether Vial, having a 3-mana creature that tutors for, you can build your deck in such a way to make that tutor for basically anything. And in this case, it almost does. So having a 3-mana creature that goes and finds almost anything in your deck is really invaluable when you're playing with Aether Vial, because it really allows you to cheat the mana cost on Imperial Recruiter and lets you get these like pretty explosive turns where you're just like double, triple spelling, and that's where the Humans deck kind of turns the corner. So Recruiter, another big addition from MH2, and then the newest addition in the form of Adeline Resplendent Cathar. This is a card that kind of flew by me a little bit when Innistrad first came out. I wasn't sure how good this card was, and I've seen a couple Humans decks that have 5-0'd the Modern Leagues recently. I've been playing 1 or 2 copies of this card, and I've talked to some of those people, and they say that Adeline has been really good for them. So we're seeing 3 copies here, which is kind of a pretty big statement. But I am interested to see how that card kind of plays out in this fashion where we're playing that many copies of it. Now, you might ask yourself, why would we play Jeskai instead of playing the normal 5-color Humans with, Hierarch and all these other cards, all the sideboard cards? Well, the reason for that is a couple reasons. One, if you decided that you want to expand your range of main deck and sideboard cards, that being 2 Lightning Bolt in the main with an additional 2 copies in the sideboard, which really helps against opposing Ragavans and other stuff like that. We also get to play 2 Teferi Time Raveler, which is really good because there's a ton of Cascade and a ton of control right now, and Teferi is one of the best cards against both of those decks. So those are the 2 main reasons. And the other reason would be, normally when you look at a Humans deck list, you see Unclaimed Territory, Cavern of Souls, all these kinds of lands that, and then you have like the other lands, the green-white lands that cast Champion and Noble, all these kinds of lands that don't allow you to cast Ragavan, right? Because Ragavan's not a human. But when you decide to make your deck Jeskai, you now have more lands. I guess you still have the Cavern of Souls, but you're not playing Unclaimed Territory and that kind of stuff, so you have more lands that cast Ragavan. And then also like stuff like Phantasmal Image is easier to cast because you don't have the problem of like, well, I have, a Cavern on Human and a Territory on Human. Well, I don't have blue mana for my Image in my hand in the 5-color deck. So I think the mana base gets a little bit better. Ragavan's easier to cast, and you get to expand your range of main deck and sideboard cards like Teferi Bolt and that kind of stuff. So that is, those are really the main reasons. Now, is that worth it? Yet to be seen, because the 5-color Humans deck has a pretty big pedigree within the Modern format. So we'll see how this plays out. And then Meddling Mage, all that kind of stuff. The rest of the deck, I'm sure that you've seen before. Again, Meddling Mage, Image, Lieutenant, Reflector Mage, Mantis Rider. These are cards that I'm sure you've seen before. The 1 Esper Sentinel is interesting, something to get off of Imperial Recruiter. Just another good 1-drop to be able to violin. I don't know if that's better than just playing the 4th Ragavan, but again, something worth considering, when we play out these games. It is kind of cool that you could pump up the Sentinel with Thalia's Lieutenant to make it so the tax on them is a little bit more. Maybe make it harder for them to pay the tax, which is pretty cool. Mana base, we got some fetches, we got some shocks, we get some caverns, a couple fast lands, nothing too fancy over here, 2 Sunbaked Canyons. And then moving on to the sideboard, we're going with 4 copies of Sanctifier. We are an Aether Vial deck, so we do want to play a decent number of creatures in the sideboard. So Sanctifier is just kind of the best in terms of it's a human. It has really good text against a lot of different decks. Anything that's playing like Tarmogoyf, DRC, good against Living End, good against Dredge, Reanimator, all that kind of stuff. It's just got a lot of good matchups. Bossman Column for burn. Kira, great Glass Spinner, which is another card that we actually get to play because our mana is a little bit better than the traditional humans decks. This is a card that is quite powerful against opponents who have a lot of removal spells because they have to kill the Kira first. So if they have, let's say, a Lightning Bolt in their hand and you have a Kira in play, they have to, not only do they have to basically, well, I guess they don't have to kill the Kira first, but they still have to use 2 removal spells to kill any one of your creatures. And if they're not killing the Kira, then they then have to use 2 removal spells again the next turn. So that's definitely something. Also, again, we have Recruiter, so it's kind of a cool Recruiter target. The aforementioned Bolts for Ragavan and DRC matchups. Alpine Moon, which is mostly here for Urza Saga, but also good against Tron. Magus of the Moon, same reason. Sanctum Prelate, good against Burn, good against the DRC decks. And what else is... Oh, Cascade, yes. It's also good against Cascade because you can name 0. Deputy of Detention, very, very potent card. Mostly here for the Crashing Footfalls matchup. The Crashing Footfalls deck, like what usually happens is the play pattern is they just tap out for Rhinos. And if you play a Deputy, they do have answers to Deputy because if you kill the Deputy with a trigger on the stack, then the Rhinos don't actually go away. But if they're tapping out for Rhinos, you just have to play Deputy and then kill the Rhinos. So it's kind of cool there. And then last but not least, a Lavinia Azorius Renegade, also a potent card against Cascade because it has the whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell text. Also decent against Tron because they're trying to play 7 drops with 3 lands. So it's good against Tron, good against Cascade, and again, just another good tutor target to have with Recruiter. That's another thing that Recruiter really allows you to do, is play all these sweet sideboard and / main deck bullets, where you don't have to play a ton of copies of it, like the actual card itself, but you have effective 4 copies of it because of the Recruiter, which is really nice. So that's kind of cool as well. So that's the deck. I'm pretty excited to see how this goes, how it fares, how it kind of compares to traditional 5-color humans. So let's not wait any longer. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 1. All right, everybody, we're here for round number 1. Jeskai Humans. What do we got? We got a Mage, a Champion, and a Ragavan against a Lurrus. If they're playing a fair Lurrus deck, I want to keep this hand because I don't really like mulliganing against Thoughtseize, but if they're playing Hammer Time, this hand's a lot worse. I think I'm still going to keep it. This hand's not the best, but let's hope they're not playing Hammer Time. And of course they are. Okay, hand looks a little bit worse against Hammer Time. Ragavan not the best against Memnite, so let's just go Cavern Champion, I think. Mitigate the amount of damage we can take. I mean, we have a red source for Ragavan anyways, so we're not too worried about not having that. But I don't actually think that I would like to Ragavan them. Like, I think this turn's just going to be Champion plus Ragavan. Confidant. Okay. Yeah, new plan. Champion plus Bolt. Alright, so let's go do this. Play Champion. Trigger. And then Sacred Foundry, Bolt the Bob. I don't think they would trade, but you never know. I'm going to Bolt the Bob anyways, so might as well not give them the opportunity. Like, I know for a fact I'm casting Bolt no matter what. So now they could Lurrus. Oh. Are their last 2 cards Aid plus Hammer? Looks like it is. Nice thing is we have the Reflector Mage. So we can just take 12, go to 5, and then Reflector Mage the Memnite, and they have nothing left. Knowing my luck, they'll probably just draw another Hammer, but, you know. Here we are. Alright, let's go Reflector Mage, bounce this Memnite. Again, know for a fact they're drawing second Hammer. They attack, I guess I'll probably block to buy myself a turn. Yeah, I'll probably block if they attack. Alright, they played the land. Because again, we know their hand is Lurrus plus Memnite. Okay, this is winnable. So, do we shove with everything? I think so. Because if they trade the Memnite for the Ragavan, that means that we're not dead to a hammer. And if they don't trade, we can just post-combat play the second Ragavan to have a blocker. So I think I like that. So let's go dash here. Let's do it with these. And that way if they don't block and I hit a Sentinel off of their deck, then I can cast the Sentinel off the Cavern and the Ragavan off of the Canyon. I like kind of forcing the block here. Yeah, because that means we're not dead to hammer, and we're in a much better position now. Do I want to play the second Ragavan? I think it's better because it frees up my mana next turn to do, like, sack this or play a 3-drop or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think freeing up my mana next turn is pretty important. Like, what can they do here? They can go Lurrus plus Memnite. Just play a couple Memnites. Just do some chump blocking. Because we still know they have a Memnite in their hand, yeah. Okay, cool. So everything's on the table. Adeline, huh? So what if I sack the Canyon, then I have the Shock to go to 2? Maybe that's just not worth it. Because Mantis Rider wouldn't be lethal anyways. So let's do it this way. Question is, what do we attack with? Okay, I'm at least attacking with the 2 champions. That's pretty obvious. The champions won't be lethal because the Lurrus can actually block the Adeline token. So what they can do is Lurrus on the Adeline token, and then probably chump block one of the champions, take 4, which actually puts them to 5 because they gain 3 off of this. So I think maybe this is also a good attack. And just save the Ragavan. Yeah, this makes sense to me. I think I like this. It's possible the Ragavan should have just came in and traded for a Memnite. Just gets more material off the battlefield. But like this way, they chump block here, take 6, which puts them to 3, because they go up to 9, take 6 down to 3. That makes both of these lethal next turn, along with the Adeline, so I'll have 3 lethal creatures. Yeah, this makes sense. So go to 3. Still dead to hammer because they have a flying. They have the Ornithopter, but not much I can do about that. I have the option to shock in the Steam Vents to sack the Canyon. I mean, if I was going to do that, I would have just sacked the Canyon pre-combat. Try and find a Mantis Rider. I guess maybe that's a good reason to main phase the Canyon. Even though, yeah, because even though I have to shock to if I need to play Adeline, it's still worth it because I could also find Lightning Bolt, which would cover me if they drew Hammer. So I was probably supposed to just sack the Canyon there and go to 2. There's not really that much difference between 4 and 2. Like, a Hammer is just as lethal whether you're at 4 or 2, it doesn't matter. So, probably was supposed to sack there. Could also find Teferi. Yeah, Teferi would make it so I wouldn't die to the Ornithopter, because they would have to main phase the Hammer, in which case I could just chump block. So, alright, Bob is fine. Okay, cool. Didn't get punished. Alright. Ooh, hello there. Teferi Time Raveler. So, now we just bounce the... no, they're not quite dead, right? We bounce the Lurrus. Blue, white, this. Yeah, so we bounce Lurrus so they don't gain life, but they have 4 blockers. They can block 4 things and take 2 and go to 1. But they're in trouble. Let's say that. They are definitely in trouble. Oh no, they are dead because the token from Adeline, right? Yeah, the token from Adeline makes it lethal. Because they go block, 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 And then the token plus the Reflector Mage is 3 damage with them at 3. Okay. Yeah, the Adeline does make it lethal. I'm just dumb. Don't mind me. Alright, Lightning Bolt, probably Alpine Moon. I don't know if that's the kind of game I'm trying to fight, though. Lavinia, Sanctifier, I think, are bad. I guess Lavinia is good against Memnite, but I don't think that's worth it. Deputy is decent. Magus, Prelate. Prelate on the draw is a little sus. I think as good as Recruiter is, it is pretty slow in this matchup, so I kind of want to trim on those. Not a huge fan of Ragavan either. So, I mean, that's 60, right? Does that make sense? I don't mind the 1 Sentinel. I could see cutting it maybe for the Magus. No, I don't want the Magus. Bossman, Calm, Sanctifier, Lavinia. I don't know if I'm supposed to cut all of my Recruiters. I'm fairly convinced that Ragavan is bad. I'm just not sure if Recruiter is like... Even though Recruiter's slow, it is still decent-ish. I'm going to go with this. See how this plays out. I do like Teferi. Being able to bounce constructs and stuff that has hammer on it, I think is pretty good. Alright, we're on the draw. It seems okay. Not great, but okay. Maybe this card's bad in this matchup. Because even if you name Colossus Hammer... that's gross. I think I'm just going to give them a card. God, I hate giving my opponents free cards. And I actually want to get a red source here so I can go Cavern on 2, Bolt, and not have to... Yeah. So let's get a... Steam Fence or Sacred Foundry? Probably doesn't matter all that much. We have no double white, right? I guess we have Adeline. But we have Hallowed Fountain. Oh, whatever, I'll just get the Foundry. No. It's possible I'm supposed to time walk myself there, but with Aether Vial specifically, it's really, really bad to just skip a turn off of casting Aether Vial. Because then you're putting yourself a turn even further behind, you know, doing stuff with Vial. So, I think it's just too bad there. Alright, they got a Mystic. And here's the issue with Meddling Mage, right? If you Mystic and name Colossus Hammer, they can just put it in with the Stoneforge. Or if you Meddling Mage the Hammer, they can just put it in with Stoneforge Mystic. So, Meddling Mage not the best against Stoneforge. So you basically have to name Sigarda's Aid or Pure Steel Paladin. So in this particular case, probably gonna name... Probably just gonna name Sigarda's Aid this turn. And then maybe next turn I'll do the second one on Pure Steel Paladin. So let's do that. Sigarda's Aid. Go. The reason I'm choosing Sigarda's Aid this turn is because that one's a little bit more mana efficient. It's the one I think they're more likely to cast this turn. And then next turn we can just go Vial up to 2, Vial into Meddling Mage, hold up Lightning Bolt, and or play Reflector Mage. Probably just going to hold up Bolt, though. I don't want to Mage either of these two. Okay, they have another Sentinel, which is fine-ish. I'm actually kind of happy they're doing that and not activating the Saga. I think that's better for me. Especially because we get to cover Paladin next turn. Which means once we have Meddling Mages on Sigarda's Aid and Paladin, they can't equip hammers. So that's your best bet with Meddling Mage. Have another Stoneforge? Okay. Their Stoneforge is fine, so this is probably going to get Shadow Spear. And they can pair the Shadow Spear with the Construct token. Man, I hope their hand is like... Okay, I was going to say, I hope their hand is Pure Steel Paladin and they just get a second hammer. And then they just get blown out by the second Meddling Mage. Vial up to 2. So I'm going to Vial in the Meddling Mage. Because I want to be able to hold up Lightning Bolt just in case. So we're going to name Pure Steel Paladin. Question is, do I attack? They could triple block with like 2 Stone Forges and a Sentinel. I feel like the attack is kind of bad. I actually think the triple block is really bad for me. Because even if I bolt a Stone Forge, I can still only trade for another Stone Forge, and that's just not where I want to be. Wow, not making a construct, huh? Interesting. Very, very interesting. I wonder why they wouldn't make a construct. They got a drum. Okay. We know they have hammer plus shadow spear. Maybe they have like prismatic ending or something. I guess that would kind of make sense. Hushbringer. Sure. All right, made a drum. And the drum. To be end of turn, kill the Hushbringer. Does kind of free up our mana. Yeah, we can wait a little bit. I'm going to take this up to 3, though. Teferi Time Raveler, huh? I want to give them cards. Let's just chill. Let's just chill. No reason to do anything. We can wait a little bit. Play this a little bit patiently. Like, if we absolutely have to, we can go bolt the Hushbringer and then Violin the Reflector Mage. And we get to go bolt, pay 2 for the 2 Sentinels. It's probably like a Path Exile or something. No, set clearing. Activate Stoneforge, sure. Okay, that's a hammer. Still have that covered. They have a Shadow Spear. They have to have a removal spell here, right? Like a Fatal Push or a Path Exile or a Prismatic Ending. Although I guess they probably would have done that last turn, right? I don't know. Alright, clearing gets sacked. Yeah, I don't know what their hand could be. Maybe just more hammers? I feel like they should probably lure us this turn. That's kind of why I'm saving the bolt. Shadow Spear is fine. We knew about that one. Are they going to equip the Hushbringer? Just go beatdowns. Oh, many beatdowns. The Stone Forge. Okay. How aggressive do I want to get here? Because I could go bolt the Hushbringer, pay for the 2 Sentinels, Violin Reflector Mage, bounce this, and have 6 power with them at 13. And then next turn, I could even go, like, Teferi, pay for the 2 Sentinels, bounce the other Stoneforge. I feel like I should be waiting here, but I'm gonna get a little aggressive. This is probably a bad play, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna get a little aggressive here. I think I should be a little patient, but I tend to get impatient sometimes. Alright, that's bounced. I mean, this doesn't seem bad, especially if I draw something like a Thalia's Lieutenant. Then it's even better. About a Thalia herself. Which I think is just a better play than Teferi this turn. Yeah, so let's just go attack for 6. We go to 7. Play Thalia. I still don't want to play into the Sentinels. I can just wait till next turn. It's not a huge deal. Yeah, I don't want to play into the Sentinels. I don't want to give them more opportunities to find a removal spell for the Meddling Mage, because I think that's what's winning me this game, is they just haven't found an answer to a Meddling Mage yet. Because now, if they equip the Shadow Spear, whatever they equip with Shadow Spear, I can just bounce with Teferi, pay 2 for the Sentinels, and then have a pretty good attack. Oh, I guess I can't because the Teferi costs 4. So I'll have to give them 1 card. You know. The old Thalia Teferi combination. Combination strat. Alright, what I would like to draw is a 3-drop. So I could vial that in. Lightning Bolt's not bad either. Would I rather bolt this? Nah, I think I'd rather Teferi. So white, blue, this. Alright, we'll go. I'll pay 1 and then bounce the other one. Or pay 1, not pay for the second one. Bounce the Stoneforge. And they actually can't double block here, because if they double block, they die. So they don't even have the luxury of double blocking a Meddling Mage, because if they do that, they just take 6 and die. So they have to go chump, which means, yeah, this game should be good. And then even if they have... Well, that's not true, right? If they find a removal spell, then I'm probably dead. Because even if they kill one of these... Yeah. 10, 11, equip. Well, not necessarily. Like, even if they find a removal spell, we do have a Thalia in play, so they wouldn't necessarily be able to have enough mana to go, like, you know, kill this, and play the thing, and equip, yada yada, so... We might be fine either way. So it turns out, I got a little aggressive on the Bolt Hushbringer turn, but I think it worked out pretty well. I think that was a decent turn. And our opponent agrees that it was a decent turn. All right, 1-0 with Jeskai Humans. Deck felt pretty decent so far, so we'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 2. All right, YouTube, round number 2. Got a bit of a slow hand. I think I'm actually going to keep this in the play, though. Just having Champion into Bolt into Recruiter on the play I think is good enough. But maybe I should be mulliganing this hand. Not sure. I think it's pretty close. Maybe it's not close. Like, the 4th land is pretty bad. The 4th, especially because we don't have a sack land in our opening hand. If one of these was a sack land, I'd feel much better about keeping this hand, because that means the 4th land can turn into something relevant. But the 4th land in this deck is usually not really that relevant outside of sack lands, so this hand's a bit sketch. But on the play with Champion and Bolt and a good 3-drop, like, Recruiter is so much better on the play because you just have more time to do it. But on the draw, it's a lot worse, so... And there's also, like, the London Mulligan argument, where if your 7 is not, like, really good, it's, like, the first Mulligan's almost pretty free. I don't know. We're getting Grief Ephemerated, uh-oh. Good thing we got some Sanctifiers in our sideboard. This looks like they're playing the Aspiring Spike Reanimator deck. Well, we now have no cards in our hand, so... Probably dead. Probably dead. They pitched Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, joke's on you. Joke's on you. I got no cards. Got him. See, that's how you beat Grief Ephemerate. You just keep a hand that has 2 spells and then don't draw a 3rd spell. Abzan, huh? Okay. Okay. That plays. What do we name? Should I name Siege Rhino? XD? I could name Persist. I could name Unmarked Grave. I could name Ephemerate, but if they had Ephemerate, they would probably draw step the Ephemerate there. Kind of want to just name Persist. And then I also kind of want to offer the trade. Persist. Yeah, let's offer the trade. I don't know if that trade's good, but that might be a bad trade. Satyr Wayfinder. Alright, alright. They're going deep. I like it. I like it a lot. Catacombs. Run Tomb, tapped, pass. Mantis Rider? Sunbaked Canyon. Well, we'll sack that now. Try and find a 2-drop. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Just pray to God they don't cast Siege Rhino. Grizzly Salvage. So they put Priest of Felrights in their hand, which they're just going to cast. Okay. Look, I like what's going on here. I am a big fan of what's going on here. No Archon in the graveyard, though, so that's worth noting. Probably just going to bounce the Priest, I think. I want to protect the Teferi. Yeah, I think I want to protect the Teferi. Yeah, this is not good. Okay, Priest again. They're just gonna hardcast the Archon. Thalia, huh? Do I offer the trade? Probably not. Alright, your turn. Like, the trade, I think the trade's kind of bad because it just puts this in their graveyard, which they kind of want there anyways, and now it would turn on their persists. Really? Alright. I'm okay with that. My hand still sucks. Hand is still bad. Oh no, what's this? They have a 6-drop? I hope they don't have a 6-drop. I'll just fetch main phase pass. Alright. We need to find a good card. Any good cards? Any good cards? Any good cards? Yeah, kind of qualifies, but not really. Does let me attack with Thalia. I think I have to leave back these, though. I mean, what if I just offer the trade? Like, if I attack with both, they trade. Like, how relevant is Persist anyways? They don't have an Archon in their graveyard. And they probably would have cast Unmarked Grave a while ago if they had it. Like, I'm trying to think, if I force the trade here and they take this, right, they go to 7. Next turn, if I draw Mantis Rider, I can just go Teferi, bounce this, play Rider, and have 8 damage. So I think the trade's actually pretty good for me. I changed my mind. I think this trade's actually good. I guess you could make the argument where I could just make that trade next turn, but... I mean, maybe this is bad because they're just going to get back the grief with Priest. But then they also go to 7 if they do that. So that's not the worst. It's an interesting game. Black-green. Grizzly Salvage. Well, they hit on Burial Rites. But that doesn't matter. They still haven't found the Archon. So, yeah, that's fine. No Archons. No Archons in the top 30 cards of their deck is pretty unlucky. Pretty lucky for us. Can also Tef bounce the Lieutenant. That's kind of a cool line. White-green. Prismatic Ending. Oh, white-green. Satyr Wayfinder, okay. They still have not found the Archon. Maybe the joke is that they don't have Archon in their deck. That would be kind of weird. Alright, what are we bouncing with the Teferi? Maybe just nothing. What if I just go Champion? Okay, so their last card has to be Archon, right? So we have to assume they're going to go land a hardcast Archon this turn. So yeah, let's just go plus Tef. Attack for 5. They probably chump block, go to 8. But then we can just maybe... Can maybe win this game by bouncing the Archon? I doubt it. It's still going to be tough to slog through, because they can just replay it again. I guess what has to happen is I have to draw Meddling Mage, so I can bounce the Archon and then Meddling Mage name Archon. Is this not a hardcast Archon? What a weird game. Burial Rites Wayfinder. And they still have not found an Archon. Did they just forget to register Archon? Or maybe they didn't have the 8th land. Oh my god, are we going to win this game? There's no way, right? There's no way we're going to win this game. Yeah, like a prismatic ending. Persist the grief. Okay. I mean, 100% one of their last cards has to be Archon, right? Reflector Mage actually just does it. I think Magus Rider might too. Block there. Do we go for the kill? Okay, do I realistically think I'm getting another turn with this Archon? So, like, if I plus Tef to hold it to be able to bounce the Archon, I attack with everything. They trade for Champion, trade for Lieutenant, they take 3, go to 5. Yeah, then I just lose. So I have to kind of go for lethal anyways, so... It's not quite lethal. I think I had to go for it there. So 3, 6. I guess they can trade for the Champion. So they can trade for Champion, take 6, and go to 2. Yeah. And then they go Archon, I sack Sentinel up to 5. Well, I guess Rider, Reflector Mage, or Teferi would all still do it, right? Because they go up to 5. I sack Sentinel. Or actually, what if I just sack Tef? Because my Tef's at 1 anyways. Yeah, I just sack Tef, right? And that way... any point of damage would be lethal. A Lieutenant would also be lethal, right? Because they just block a 3 and then take 5. Yeah, so just sack Tef. Because now Lieutenant pumps this up. They block a 3 and take 5 with them at 5. Oh my god, what an absurd game. What an unreal game. How did they just milled their entire deck and never found an Archon? That's absurd. That's actually insane. They went through 40 cards and they didn't find an Archon. That's so crazy. Alright, Sanctifier coming in. Deputy maybe. Magus probably. Their mana didn't look great. Lightning Bolt seems kind of bad. I don't mind Blossoming Column against Thoughtseize and Archon. I don't love it, but this one's bad. I think this one's bad. Not really a fan of this one. These cards are interesting. What are we cutting? Ooh. Phantasmal Image is awesome. Phantasmal Image or Archon? Hello? Reflector Mage seems good. Could maybe trim an Adeline, trim a Recruiter. Let's trim the slower cards. I want to focus more on the 2-mana aspect. Maybe trim a Meddling Mage, maybe trim a Vial. Maybe trim the Sentinel. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it. That was a weird game. My goodness, that was a weird game. I still don't even know what happened. All I know is they went through 40 cards and never found an Archon. And I also got very, very lucky in terms of, like, drawing... Well, I mean, I guess I had a lot of outs there, but... Reflector Mage, Lieutenant, Rider, and Teferi all would have killed them, and Bolt. So, I had a decent number of outs. Just hilarious that they didn't find Archon in their top 40 cards. Ooh, Vial into Ragavan into Mage. This hand seems dope. They mulligan to 6. I mean, this hand doesn't have a Sanctifier, but it's got just about everything else. Yeah, this hand's sick. It's possible I'm supposed to be cutting Aether Vial against Grief Ephemerate, but because what happens with Grief Ephemerate versus Aether Vial is they just take your creatures and leave you with a vial and nothing to do with it, so that is a consideration. Thankfully, I don't have it. So let's go human. I think I'm going to Vile on 1, and I think I'm just going to play Meddling Mage on 2 and name Persist, because I don't want to get turn 3'd. Especially if they cast Unmarked Grave here. Prismatic Ending. Okay. It's annoying. Could dash Ragavan. Could also just play Meddling Mage. I don't want to use my mana efficiently and just go Mage and then into dash Ragavan plus second Mage. I think I like that better. Let's get a red source. I think I'm still just going to name Persist. Yeah, let's name Persist. I think that's right. Maybe the best name is like, you're gonna think this is crazy, but maybe like Lingering Souls or something, because that's the best 3-mana card they could probably cast there. Anyways, let's go dash here. Attack for 4. Hit a priest. I don't necessarily want to put this in play, because then if they kill it, they get it back. So let's just go Meddling Mage. Now I'm gonna name Damn. Because I think that's the Wrath they're most likely to have, and that's the card that I care about the most. I believe. There's also an argument. Okay, they're off it. I was going to say there's an argument to name like Prismatic Ending or something like that, but I think the Wrath is the card that I'm scared the most of. Anyways, 2-0. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 3. Alright, everybody, we're back here for round number 3, and we have a one-lander that I really want to keep. Oh, man. I'm going to ship it, but I think this hand's pretty close. Double Champion Thalia. Like, if you replace one of these 3 cards with a Vial, I think I would keep this hand, but I'm going to ship it. Okay, this is better. This is better. Well, yeah, this is actually pretty good. I'm going to put back the... I think the Cavern, because I want the Vantage and the Flooded Strand in case I draw Teferi. There's only 2 Tefs, though. I'll just put back the Flooded Strand. Damage mitigation. Like, the Cavern casts every card in my hand, so it's not that big of a deal. I guess the other argument is I have Vial for the mages anyways. Ooh, Ponza. Ponza is historically not very good against the card Aether Vial. So let's go... I'm going to play the Vantage. Alright, we get a Vial. They could pillage me. They could definitely pillage me. Red-green. Okay. Dash Ragavan. They hit a lieutenant. Could play it. Well, they don't have a land. Okay, never mind. Not playing the lieutenant. Drew Thalia too, which is pretty sicko. Let's just play that. Because that does blank the Ragavan, and if they don't find a land, they can't bolt it and dash the Ragavan. So. And then next turn we get the double spell. So we're chilling. We are chillin'. They could Blood Moon me. It's a card they could cast. Red and 6? Yeah, that's bad too. Okay, that plays. So they have 5 cards, one of which is a Ragavan, which they're casting. Okay. So now we get to go tick up. And I think what I'm going to do is main phase, play Lieutenant, trigger on the stack, Vial, and Meddling Mage, and that way this is a 2-2, this is a 3-3, and then I just name Lightning Bolt. I think that is the play that I want to make. Cavern on human. So this way, the reason I did it this way is because now I have a 3-3 to block Ragavan. Even if, you know, they get to Ren and 6 it, but that's fine because then I can attack Ren and 6 with this. They can't bolt it, and they also can't ping the 2-2 with the Lieutenant because it's a 2-2 now. And that's the little trick with Lieutenant. You always want to make sure that when you have, in these situations, you want to play the Lieutenant and then trigger on the stack, Vial something in, because that way you get it, the counter spreads out that way. So this attack kind of signifies they have Bolt. I think I'm willing to make this trade, though, because I have a second Meddling Mage. Maybe that's bad. Like, I understand they can ping the Meddling Mage with Red and 6. I feel like that's okay, though. But maybe they just have a second Ragavan. Yeah, this is pretty bad if they have second Ragavan. But I don't know. They're missing land drops. Letting them hit me with Ragavan is also not great. So yeah, that's not great. It's not great. Okay, that helps. So now we can just Mantis Rider. Oh no, we can't Mantis Rider. What am I saying? I'm dumb. I don't know why I thought I could Mantis Rider off of this thing. We can image. Image recruiter. Yeah, so let's get an image, I think. Copy recruiter, yields. Do we want another image? Just make a ton of images. And then with the last one we can get Lieutenant. Or perhaps Adeline. Now let's just get another image. Or well, no, so what if I do this? What if I go get Thalia's Lieutenant with this one, and then cast Meddling Mage, and then next turn Lieutenant, Meddling Mage named Bone Crusher Giant? Yeah, what if I just did that? I think I like that better, actually. So let's go this, name Human. White, blue, name Bone Crusher Giants. I think I like doing it this way. They can kill one of the recruiters, that's fine. Not a huge deal. But this makes it so they can't play the Bone Crusher Giant this turn. Because they can have a Bloodbraid Elf. I think I like doing it this way, though. So they're going to fetch. Now what? Get back a land. To Scavenging Ooze. Make it a 4/4. Okay. That's not great. Not great. What's this? Stomp. No. This all went downhill, huh? All going downhill from here. I'll happily let them trade off the ooze to keep the red and 6. I think I'm willing to make that trade because I just can't beat the ooze. The ooze is going to be a 6/6, so if they want to trade the ooze off, I think I'll incentivize that. This one probably should have went at red and 6, and this one should have went at them. Because if they did want to keep the red and 6 in play, they would have to trade off for the one that's worse. So these should have swapped. But again, I don't really think I can beat the ooze, so I think I am perfectly happy with them allowing them keeping the red and 6, assuming that I kept this one, which is what I should have done. Which I should have swapped the two around. But Colossus. And a Tarmogoyf. Okay, things are looking grim. Alright, your turn. So they go Clothis, go to 16. I mean, I guess we could draw a Mantis Rider, but that's about it. That is about it. Yeah, Bone Crusher Giant. Mm-hmm. Probably not going to take many more draw steps here. No blocks. No block skis. I would like to take a draw step, opponent. Yeah, that's not going to do it. All right, game number 2. So, playing against Ponza. Sanctifier on Vec. I don't think it's actually that good, because it kind of gets blanked by Scavenging Ooze and Tarmogoyf. It does blank their red removal, but they just have a lot of green creatures in their deck that I don't think it's actually that good. To be completely honest with you, I don't really like many of these cards. I think our matchup should be good. No. Maybe bolts, kill Arbor Elves and stuff like that. No. Definitely not. No. Kira's not the worst. Yeah, Kira could be good. Not a huge fan of Deputy against Lightning Bolt. I don't really like the Sanctifiers. So let's cut the Sentinel, because it's awkward against Red and 6. I'm down to cut 1 image, also really awkward against Red and 6, and maybe Trimmer Recruiter. Bring in these 3. Alright, let's try that. Let's go. Alright, back here for game number 2. And we have a 1-lander. You know what? I'm going to keep this. Again, I probably shouldn't keep this hand. If they have Bolt, I probably just lose. But if they have Arbor Elf, I can Bolt the Arbor Elf attack and then do it and get it that way. So I think I'm willing to risk this hand. Risk it for the biscuit, as they say. They have Lightning Bolt. I'm probably going to lose, but, you know, here we are. Karplusan Forest, huh? Why are we doing that main phase? They probably should have waited till my combat step, but I think I gotta play Thalia here to turn off Ren and 6. If I play Champion into Ren and 6, that's pretty horrendous. So I think I gotta jam Thalia there. They draw land. You know, not a blue source, but I guess I can't. I guess I'm not allowed to complain because I drew a land. But yeah, playing Champion into Ren and 6 there is just so bad, so I think I have to play the Thalia to at least prevent them from playing Ren and 6 for a turn. Scavenging Ooze. Awkward draw step. I guess I don't have to kill the Ooze quite yet, right? Because they can't kill, even if they have a land, they can't kill the Thalia and activate the Ooze twice, which means they're just going to be able to bolt it next turn. So I think this is just going to be a Vile turn. Yeah, that makes sense. Could have Ren and 6, but again, land Ren and 6. This is still a 2/2. I can just bolt it next turn. Actually, kind of hope they kill the Thalia, because then I get to use all my mana. I guess I'm gonna have the Violent one anyways. So no attacks with the Scavenging Ooze. That's oh yeah, because they just want to block and activate it. Sure. All right, kill it. I think I'm supposed to do this pre-combat. Imagine if I got Gutshot here. Gutshot your Thalia, activate. There's no way. But yeah, like, if I attack, I can't really attack because they can just block and activate. There's not really a good way for me to, like, offer up the Thalia and then hold up mana to play the second Thalia pre-combat, even though I really wanted to do that. There's just not really a good way for me to do that, you know? It's like, if I attack, they just call, they block and activate, and then I'm just throwing a Thalia away for nothing. So it's like a little awkward there. Bone Crusher Giant. Put in Champion of the Parish. Really like to draw a land here. Thank you. Do we trade? So name human. So I can go Violent Thalia, counter here. Play Adeline, counter here. Attack, counter. That's a 4/4. They can just trade. Let's just not attack then. So let's vial that in. Cast Adeline. Offer the trade, because that means they're not trading with Adeline. But I could just not offer the trade next turn. Well, I guess this isn't that bad, right? Because if they trade, I get to keep a human, and then they don't have a blocker for Thalia next turn. I think this is okay. I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to wait one turn. Because, like, if I get this thing to a 5/5, how do they ever beat it? Like, their removal just doesn't touch 5/5s. So maybe I'm supposed to wait there. But it does free up the Adeline to attack next turn, unimpeded. So I don't mind this play. Obstinate Baloth. Okie dokie. Miles going up to 3. Teferi, Time Raveler, which I can't cast. Do I just offer the trade? I think so. This is tough. Maybe this attack is just bad. If I attack with everything, they can eat the Thalia and take 6. And then I can play Meddling Mage. What am I even naming? Probably just a random removal spell like a Bolt. If I attack with just these two, get a token, they trade here, take 2. I guess that's not bad, right? Yeah, I should have played the Meddling Mage pre-combat in case they didn't want to block this. But I have to imagine they're blocking this either way. But yeah, I should have played this pre-combat. Okay, didn't matter, they blocked. I think I'm going to name Bolt. Lightning Bolt. Go. Wish I could Violent Teferi, huh? If only. If only you could Violent Teferi. Imagine if Planeswalkers would be so broken. They kind of already are busted, but if only you could Violin a Teferi. Alright, opponent is doing nothing. So they have a Stomperino. Is that what this is? Give me a Mantis Rider. That's pretty good too. Alright, we'll take that. We'll take that one. That was a pretty good draw step. I accept that. I accept. Alright, now what? Now what, opponent? What's this? Kozilek's Return. Ready? Your turn. Alright, maybe I lied. Maybe this matchup is horrendous. Because they have a lot of large creatures that outsize ours. They have a good amount of removal that also doubles as, like, their, like, Bone Crusher Giant is so good. Yeah, maybe this matchup just sucks. Am I getting Glorybringered? Yeah, it's not great either. Just make it a 5/5. They do have Magus, okay. Alright, we need something good. Doesn't exactly qualify. So I can trade this for either one of these two, which I think maybe is okay. They double block, I'll probably just trade it for the Scavenging Ooze. I didn't think they were going to double block, but... Alright, this game is slipping away from us, just like the first one. I'm not really sure that there were many decisions that I could have made differently. Like, I guess I could have not offered the Champion trade. I could have not offered the Adeline trade. Although the Adeline trade ended up working out pretty well for me because I drew a second one. The champion trade might have been a little loose, but because I could have just waited a turn, which may have been better. Adeline flooded. Do I have good attacks? So I attack with both. This is a 3/3 that gets swallowed up by the Goyf. If I attack with just this, it's a 3/4. They just eat the token, bounce off the Goyf. So yeah, but I have a second Adeline, so it's kind of a free roll attack. Even if they want to kill the Adeline, it's not that bad. So it's like pretty much a free roll attack, and it also the token pumps the champion. So all right, what you got, opponent? Yeah, bolt for the champion. Okay. So now they just bounce off of the Adeline, probably. Now we're double blocking. Well, I'll kill the one I can kill. Because I have a 2/4 Adeline. Alright. All my stuff is dead. It's all dead. And they have a Scavenging Ooze. I've seen enough. Alright. Next game, 2-1. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 4. Alright, round 4. Let's see if we can dodge Ponza. So, this hand has no red source for Bolt. That's an issue. We do have Meddling Mage into Adeline or Recruiter. I think on the play, this hand is still keepable. It's obviously a little awkward, because we can't cast the Bolt if the Bolt is good, but I don't know, Meddling Mage into Adeline is not bad. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Alright, opponent goes to 6. One stays on 6. Alright, Howling Fountain, go. What do we got? I can't Cavern instant, can I? That's not how that works. It's unfortunately not how that works. Yavimaya? Ooh, Tron, huh? Okay. Now, where were you last turn, huh? Do we Meddling Mage on Sylvan Scrying? So, we have to decide, is this a game... I'm going to play Meddling Mage this turn. We just have to decide if we're trying to fight over payoffs or if we're trying to fight over Tron. I think given they lit on Yavimaya and didn't play map, I think it's pretty because they probably would have played Stirrings if they had it. I think it's fairly likely their hand contains Sylvan Scrying, so I'm going to name Sylvan Scrying, I think. Because they would have played map if they had it. They would have played Stirrings if they had it. Because both of those, I think, are better turn 1 plays than Sphere. Unless they're playing around, like, exactly Prismatic Ending, and they might want to slow roll the map. But... Alright, so crack that for green. Ancient Stirrings. Reveal Power Plant. Okay. Play Power Plant. And Star. Alright. So we're probably going to Adeline here. And then next turn we can go Champion Recruiter. Because Adeline does put a little bit more pressure on them. I think this makes sense. Adeline does race them pretty effectively. So we get a 1/1, they go to 17. Next turn we can go Champion plus Recruiter, attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Put them to 8. Maybe I was supposed to... they just have Nattytron. They have the Natural. I guess Dashing Ragavan is good against the Natural, right? So, like, how much do I want to commit here is the question. Because I have a 2-turn lethal no matter what, right? Maybe what I'm supposed to do is go Recruiter for Reflector Mage. So what if I go Recruiter for Reflector Mage, and then just attack? Don't play the champion, don't play the Ragavan, and just hold up Bolt. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, puts them to 9, still have lethal next turn, and I get to hold the champion and the Ragavan versus the O-Stone. And I beat Wormcoil this way. Yeah, I think I like that. So name human, red, white, this, play Recruiter. I think I like this. So get Reflector Mage, but don't play it. Well, I guess getting Reflector Mage is dumb, right? Because if they play Tron, they're not going to play Wormcoil. They're just going to crack the O-Stone. So what's the point of doing that? Why don't I just get, like, a Lieutenant? At that point, right? There's just no reason to get Reflector Mage, because if they have a Tron land, they're not going to play Wormcoil. They're just going to hold up O-Stone. So maybe that's just pointless. I guess maybe as a follow-up to the O-Stone, I'd rather have Wormcoil covered. Yeah, probably. It's close. Not sure what's right there. But I would have to assume they just have the Ursus Mine. No. Maybe? Green. Crack Star. Alright, hold. Hold. Did not hold. That is the opposite of holding. They're going to pop it now, though, which is good for us because then we get the Dash Ragavan. So that's at least good for us. Okay, all my stuff is dead. All my stuff is dead. Relic. Alright, end of turn, upstairs. Upstairs. So they go to 5. This puts them to 3. And then we can play champion. And again, we should have Wormcoil beat. Alright, attack you with Monkey. 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 Maybe we'll hit like a Karn the Great Creator off of their deck. That'd be sick. Or a Walking Ballista, maybe? Warping Whale. So I can't cast that, right? You can't cast this with any color. Yeah, okay. I'm going to hang on to the land just in case they have Karn Plus. Although if they Karn, they're just going to Karn down tick, right? Maybe I was supposed to play the Reflector Mage there. Oh, that's worse against Wormcoil. Yeah, because now if they play Wormcoil, I can just dash Ragavan, play Reflector Mage, attack for 4. So we have Wormcoil beat. Alright, sack Relic. Yeah. It's a close one. It's gonna be a close one. They have Ulamog. Well, we might actually be able to beat Ulamog. Because they have to kill the champion, which means they kill champion land. And then I just go untap, land, dash Ragavan, Reflector Mage or Ulamog, put you to 1, with a Reflector Mage in play. Oh. Oh, I guess, yeah, no, because this is, yeah, this means, okay. They do know about the Reflector Mage, though. So... that doesn't quite kill them, right? Not quite. So I can put them to 1 with the Ragavan in hand. And then I have Recruiter. Missing something? What else can I Recruiter for? Let's take a look just quickly. Can Recruiter for Image, but I don't have mana to cast it. Yeah, there's nothing else I can get here, really. Alright. So, cast Reflector Mage. Blue, green, white. I think I'm going to hang on to the Ragavan. I don't want to put it in play. It's also not a human, right? So, I don't want to put the Ragavan in play in case they have a sweeper. So this puts them to 1, and then I have 2 lethal creatures in play, along with a Ragavan in hand. This is worse against Wormcoil, but... So maybe that's what they were setting up. Maybe they have Wormcoil Engine, and because they knew about the Reflector Mage. So they figured they had to play the Ulamog that turn, because obviously if they play Wormcoil, they just die to the known Reflector Mage. So... 8. Okay, we have that beat. Unless they have a Warping Whale. I do know about the Ragavan. I mean, I have to cast it. I'm not gonna not cast it. Expedition map. Okay, can beat that. So we know they have an Ulamog. I am going to dash Ragavan. I could Tef first to try and find a land. I'm not going to do that. Because if I miss, it's just so bad. Just going to pray. No Warping Whale, please. Have it? No! Maybe... So maybe where I messed up was the recruiter that got the Reflector Mage. Maybe I should have got a Meddling Mage off of that, but then I would have been able to bounce the Ulamog. Yeah, interesting. So they're going to play Ulamog, exile 2 lands. I guess I'll take a draw step, but I think we're dead. Yeah, I'm trying to think of where I went wrong. Where did we go wrong? I think I committed exactly the right amount of stuff into the O-Stone, and then we bolted them, put them to 5, and then dash Ragavan, put them to 3. I think the decision point this game was what to get off of the first recruiter. So I got Reflector Mage to play around Wormcoil, and maybe I should have gotten Meddling Mage. Okay, now I don't have any lands left. You win. Yeah, that was a tough game. Very tough game. Alright, so against Tron, Lavinia, Magus, Alpine Moon coming in. Bolt coming out. Not a huge fan of Teferi. Like, Teferi does bounce their stuff, but Reflector Mage does that as well, and is also tutorable with Recruiter and pumps your Lieutenant and Champion stuff. So I think Teferi's probably my worst card. I love Image. I think I like all these other cards, so let's go with this. Alright, game number 2. Against Tra. No lands. Ship it. Turn 1 Ragavan. Turn 2 Thalia. Turn 3 probably Recruiter. I think I'm going to put back Adeline. Actually, I can just put back a land, right? Putting back a land is a little greedy if they kill the Ragavan on turn 1. But they'd have to have, like, exactly Dismember. Because as long as I get 1 treasure, I'm guaranteed to at least cast the Recruiter, and I think that's good enough for me. So, I think this is good. Because then this is just going to get Magus. Alright, they got a map. Okay, well now I'm just gonna turn to Recruiter, right? And just Magus them? Yeah, let's just do that. Can even fetch a basic. Yeah, I'm not casting that. Let's get a Plains or an Island. What's more important? Well, we have an Adeline in our hand, so probably Plains, right? Yeah. Let's get the Magus, if we can find it. And even if they kill Ragavan, now we're guaranteed to play Magus next turn. So that's pretty good. That is a good turn. Got a little gas in me. Alright, attack you. Attack you, play Magus. A Lavinia as well. Let's attack first. See what's up. Attack you. What you got? Karn the Great Creator. Could cast that one. I'm not going to, but... I am not going to. I guess maybe Thalia plus Lavinia was better, but that's worse if they have Wormcoil. Like, if I Thalia Lavinia and they have Wormcoil, it's pretty bad for me, because then I have no attacks, I don't have an answer to the Wormcoil, I'm just going to buy them infinite time. So I think Magusing is better, even though Lavinia shuts off everything but Wormcoil. It's just too bad if I don't play this and they have Wormcoil, I think. Yeah, I would also allow them to play O-Stone, but I guess they can play O-Stone next turn no matter what. So I guess O-Stone is not really a good argument, because they're going to be allowed to play O-Stone regardless next turn, whether I Magus or Lavinia Thalia. But I think Wormcoil is a good enough reason to play the Magus here. It's close-ish. Alright, they got a power plant, which means they probably have an answer to the Magus, whether that's Dismember or O-Stone. Yet to be determined. Basic Forest. Okay. And O-Stone? Smells like an O-Stone to me. Relic of Progenitus. Not quite an O-Stone. Weather the Storm? Alright, you gotta weather the storm. Resolves. You may gain 6 life. Not really sure that's the card you want to bring in a matchup like this, but here we are. Okay. Attack. Well, I can just Adeline pre-combat and then Thalia post-combat to prevent them from playing Karn. Well, I guess they can play O-Stone if I do that. Oh, do I really have a good line against O-Stone? I guess my best line against O-Stone is attack first and trying to hit a Karn off of their deck. Because if I play Adeline and then post-combat Thalia and they have O-Stone, it's pretty bad for me. Does that put a 2-turn lethal in play, though? So it's play Adeline pre-combat, attack for 6. They go to 15, then play Thalia. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures. So Adeline is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, it puts a 2-turn lethal in play. Okay, so I guess that's fine. Yeah, if I Adeline Thalia and they tap out for O-Stone, they just die next turn. So I think this is fine. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, okay. This is fine. This is fine. Alright, your turn. We have the lethals in play. Well, not in play, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. Oh, it's in play, right? Yeah. We literally just have lethal in play. 4 mana. Say Walking Ballista. Looks like a Walking Ballista. Is that bad for me? Oh, okay. Doomwake wins. I don't know what they had. Do I want to sideboard anything different? Teferi, Deputy, Kira. Deputy's like not bad against them just deploying an O-Stone prior to having enough mana to sacrifice it, but I think in most games it's not ideal, so let's just run it back. Game number 3 for all the marbles against Tron. Opponent mulligan, we're on the draw with Alpine Moon, 3-drop, 3-drop, all lands. I don't really think I can keep this hand. Well, this hand's a lot worse. So this is essentially the same hand, just the spells are marginally worse. So I'm gonna go to 5. Okay, Champion, Lieutenant, Recruiter, lands. I think I'm gonna keep this. I think I just have to get greedy and probably just keep these and then ship these 2. Yeah, I think I just have to hope to find land 3 for the Recruiter. I need to keep all my spells, I think, for pressure. But sand is not ideal. I will say that. Not exactly what I'm looking for, but maybe I'm supposed to put back the Lieutenant and keep the 3rd land. I'm not sure, but then I'm not really pressuring them that much, so I think it makes more sense to keep the Lieutenant and just hope. Well, they have turn 3 Trons, so probably gonna die. Probably going to die. Attack you for 3, get Troned. Let's see what they have as a follow-up. Wormcoil Engine is not great. Can maybe beat a Karn Liberated, but this might be a nice anticlimactic game. The first 2 games were like somewhat interesting. Yeah, game 2 wasn't really that interesting. Game 1 was interesting, but all right. What's the payoff? Opponents get a Karn. They tanked for a couple of minutes and then decided to play Karn the Great Creator. Liquid Metal Coating. Alrighty. So now they're just going to lose their Karn? Okay. Alright, I can live with that. So they're going to coating one of my lands, which is fine. We do get to kill the Karn, though. And if we find a land, we can still post-combat something. Well, our hand's all 3 drops, so that sucks. Well, I wish we had something to do that turn, but our hand is unfortunately all 3 drops. So we can't do anything. So your turn. Turns out I got punished for putting back both lands, although, I don't know. I wanted to keep Champion plus this. Like, there's an argument where if I put back Lieutenant, again, I just don't have enough pressure, you know, so it's, like, kind of awkward. They have an Ugin. So they -2. Yeah. All right, I've seen enough. Anyways, 2 and 2. I'll see you back here in just a little bit for round number 5. All right, YouTube, round number 5. We get a pretty good hand on the draw. Opponent has Mulligan to 6. No companion. All right. Our hand is pretty good. We're missing blue mana for Meddling Mage, but we have Aether Vial, so I am going to lead on the aforementioned Aether Vial. Kind of make their counter spells a little bit worse. Depending on what they do, we can maybe... Alright, so they're playing Rhinos, looks like. We're going to get iced. Seems like we're getting iced. Nope, never mind, not Rhinos. So they didn't reveal Yorion, which means they're not the 4-color Ephemerate deck. Worth noting. So we can tick this up. What would I want to Meddling Mage? I mean, I guess just Lightning Bolt, right? So they're not Creativity because they have Breeding Pool. They're not 4-color Ephemerate. I think I'm just going to name Bolt. They could be like some weird Teamer Rec deck, maybe. But I think it's most common for them to have Bolt. So let's just name Bolt. I think that's right. And then we can end of turn. See, I don't want to Violin the Sentinel now because of the Renin 6. Like, you would think in most situations you would want to Violin the Sentinel before they put a spell on the stack because you're not going to get the trigger. Whoa. Okay. Okay, I don't know what this is. This I am not sure. I am a little confused. Let's go up to 2. Teferi's not too bad. But I think I want to go Recruiter plus Lieutenant this turn. So let's get a basic island. Let's go Recruiter. Just in case they have a counter spell, we'll use the Cavern. And yeah, I think I'm just going to get Lieutenant. Violin Lieutenant, and then just kill the Renin 6. I think this makes sense. Because they could have Ice Fang. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. It's less good for me. So they trade there. Ren goes to 2. This goes up. And now they can ping the Lieutenant. But they can only make a 1/1 to block with. So we can go up to 3, I think. I think that makes sense. How did I know that was going to happen? All right, so I think what I want to do is start by attacking the Renin 6 with both. I don't want them chaining the Saga with Ren and 6, so I think it is worth doing this. So Ren and 6 down. What I actually kind of want to do is Teferi pick up the Recruiter and then Violet back in. That's a cool play. Let's play Tef. See what they do. They may just counter this, but... Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Conceded from the game. Alright, well I was going to pick up the Recruiter and do some stuff that way. Anyways. So, Temur Saga. Temur Saga, huh? Interesting. Lostman Calm. Probably want Alpine Moon, because it does seem like their deck is pretty focused around Urza Saga. Could Sanctifier if they're a DRC deck, but I don't love that. It's not good. Like, this card's not good against Snapcaster Mage, for the most part. Lavinia seems medium. Prelate and Kira. Maybe Kira. Not really sure. Like, Magus could also be good. Although they're a Lightning Bolt deck, so Magus is probably not ideal. I'm not in love with Image against Ren and 6. Not in love with Esper Sentinel against Ren and 6. Kind of want these extra bolts. If they're a Ragavan deck. They might not be, though. What if I just keep it like this? Let's just do this. I'm really not sure how to sideboard. I want to see more of their deck first. But we'll try it like this for now. This hand seems fine. A little weak to Ren and 6, but... And by a little weak to Ren and 6, I mean a lot of weak to Ren and 6. Let's lead on Champion, I think. Because it's the one I'd rather... It's the one I would... I don't want to lose the Ragavan to Ren and 6. Because now if they go Ren down tick, I can just go Foundry, dash, kill your Ren. So we at least have that going for us. Okay, that can't cast Ren and 6. Interesting. So now I could Champion Ragavan or Thalia. What if I just go Champion Ragavan? Use my mana better. And then next turn we could just go Mantis Rider Shove. And then let them trade for Ragavan. They have explosives. Sure. Okay. Alright, it's annoying, but can beat it. Teferi Bounce Saga. Oh no, we can't play Teferi, yeah. Okay. So let's just do this. Blue, red, white. Attack for 3, they go to 16. If they make a construct, we can Tef bounce that if we draw Blue Source. If not, we get to play Thalia. They got a Shadow Spear. Snapcaster Bolt. Okay, it's not great. So it seems like they're just more of a control deck, and they probably don't have... I'm actually going to bolt this first, because I really want to be able to... yeah... Maybe I just shouldn't have cast the bolt there. I was going to say I wanted to play the bolt and also play the Thalia, but I probably just didn't need to cast the bolt there, right? Attack for 2. What's this? Some sort of removal spell on Thalia. Green, blue, green. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like Lightning Bolt is probably not great against their deck. Alright, Thalia, Vial, go. Alright, we're getting a bit more of an idea of what their deck is actually doing, so we can use that information to help us sideboard for game number 3 if we go there, which I feel like at this point we probably are. It's a good draw. What are we getting? If I get Phantasmal Image, next turn I can Vial in the Phantasmal Image, copy the Recruiter, get Adeline. Yeah, I think I like that. And even if they kill the Recruiter, I can still at least image the Endurance, so it's not that bad. I think this is good. So they're going to equip the Shadow Spear and attack for 4. And also get Reflector Mage, if we wanted to do it that way. I don't know if that's better, but... All right, Saga, sure. Equip, sure. 7 life. File up to 2. Just drew the Adeline. Interesting. All right, let's I don't want to play this. I don't really want to take 4 more damage because they are a lightning bolt deck. 1, 2. This is awkward. This is awkward. So if I play Adeline, it's 2 power. Attack with Recruiter, 3 power. Image the Recruiter, 4 power. It's only a 4/4, which means I can't trade for the Endurance. So I then have to double block, which is also pretty bad if they have Bolt. Could also Image Recruiter, get Reflector Mage. Reflector Mage the Endurance this turn. That might actually be my best line. I don't know why I'm main phasing this, but I think I like this better. Kind of buys me a turn of reprieve of this thing. Like, I know they get to cast it now. Or they get to cast it next turn. But it at least means that I'm not taking a hit from it. And if they cast Endurance in combat, they're not making a Saga token. So that's something to consider as well. But so then I could fetch Shock to play Teferi. Again, still losing the Lightning Bolt. Other line is Adeline, attack. Yeah, this is kind of awkward, isn't it? Maybe I just can't play around Bolt. So, Violin, Adeline, attack with everything. They Endurance, block here, take 3, go to 13. I have 4 creatures. No, but then I only have 1 blocker, right? So at that point, I would just have to Adeline and do nothing else. All right, let's just fetch Shockwave Tough. I think I've decided that I can't beat Bolt, so I'm not going to play around it. Yeah, I don't think I can beat Bolt. All right, they didn't have Bolt. Now what? What if I go to attacks first? Actually, isn't that good? If I go to attacks first and attack with everything, if they then cast the Endurance, they're not making a Saga token, and then post-combat, I could just bounce the Endurance with Tef. Isn't that good? That's got to be good, right? I could also bounce my own Reflector Mage. Wonder if that's better than just doing this. No, I think I like this better. Oh, they can't play the Endurance. They can't play the Endurance now. What am I saying? Yeah, this is a free roll, right? Because they can't cast the Endurance now because there's a Teferi in play. I mean, the best they can do is what, make it 2/2. But then if they make it 2/2, I can just Tef bounce it, right? So now I can just plus. Think, or I could bounce the Shadow Spear. I maybe messed this game up. I'm gonna bounce the Shadow Spear. I think I probably messed this game up. Yeah, I probably did. I think what I was maybe supposed to do is not Violin the Adeline and just Tef bounce my Reflector Mage and hold that up. I think that would have been better. Because for some reason I kept thinking that they could play the Endurance after I played the Tef, but obviously that's not the case. they can't play Endurance after I play Tef. I'm just dumb. So I probably should have just picked up my own Reflector Mage. I think that would have been better. And then I could have held up the Reflector Mage up the Vial, and then Adeline next turn. Oh. Okay. Well, we're dead. Alright, game number 3. Okay, so I guess their deck is just like all in on Saga. I mean, there's still a Bolt deck, so I don't really want Magus. I think my Bolts are kind of bad. Deputy is a little bit better against the Construct tokens. my bolts bad? I feel like they are. Let's do it. Let's do this. Like, they don't really have any early creatures. And it's very rare for... Like, they're not usually Saga tokening early. Like, their early stuff is Snapcaster Mage and Endurance. Both of which Bolt is not really that good against. So I think I'd rather just, like, have more high-impact 3-drops and be a little bit more aggressive. Like, you know, instead of messing around with Bolt early on, just curve out, and then just have these at the top of my curve. I think that makes more sense. Game number 3, and we don't have any lands, so we'll take a mulligan. Oh, no. Come on, please. Can't keep this. Well, just wasn't meant to be, I guess. Alright, your turn. That sucks. That sucks. Sometimes it's just not your day. I think I have to play this. Just get red and sixth. Yeah. Yo. Man, we started off this league so well, too. I think I probably punted against Tron. I probably punted that last game. I don't know if I would have been able to win anyways, but... yeah. Tough. Tough league. Tough league. It's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Started off so well. All came crashing downhill. Again, I think I probably punted against Tron. The Ponza matchup, I don't know if I punted. That matchup just seemed not great. I think I maybe messed up last game. These games are not easy, though, I will say that. I can't just cast the Ragavan into the red and 6, so I guess I'll dash it, even though they're just going to kill it. Yep. I don't know how many more draw steps I'm going to take of this. I don't know how much more I can endure. Okay. Yeah. Now my Mantis Rider's not even good enough because I can attack the red down to 2, but then they just minus plus Spellbomb it. I guess Adeline survives that. That's only 3 damage, right? So I guess Adeline survives. Sure. I don't know. It's probably not good enough, but... they could also just... they probably just have another removal spell in their hand. Snapcaster Mage. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen enough. I'm off it. I'm off it. Kind of a frustrating way to close out the league. Again, I don't think I played the best against Tron. The Ponza matchup seemed not great, and whatever the heck our opponent was doing last round seemed pretty good against us. Just like, you know, red and 6 plus explosives plus Saga plus a pile of removal. So we probably played against 3 not great matchups. But anyways, I don't know. This deck seemed interesting. I don't really think that you gain enough from not playing the 5-color mana base. Like, you lose Hierarch, you lose Freebooter, you lose some good sideboard cards. And I don't think you gained enough between Bolt, Ragavan, and Teferi that I don't think this is worth it. I think if you're playing a human strategy, I'd much rather prefer just playing the normal, traditional 5-color version. But it was a cool change of pace, you know, something always worth trying new stuff. Anyways, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, as always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Please let me know in the comment section what you thought of the video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.